One of the beautiful realities about being a part of a Restore Highland group is that there's a designated time every week for you to practice the one another of Scripture. This time of the night is specifically designed for you to engage with each other, but also to engage with God through prayer. As we've said several times before, RHGs are flexible in practice but firm in principle. And this is because different groups have different personalities, and it makes sense that the way that we engage in prayer reflects this. It may come as a surprise to you that one of the recommended options is not to go around in a circle and have everyone offer up their prayer requests. This is on purpose. We found that this creates a lot of quantity with not as much quality. There have been several groups that have stated that this consumes basically their entire time as a group and ends up being extremely sporadic. We want you to remember that this time is for your group to practice prayer with one another. There is plenty of space and time outside of your designated group time to engage in prayer as well. But the mission of this time specifically is to tell others how they can pray for you and how you can be praying for them. Any of these three models that we're about to go over embody this mission.
So the first model of prayer is our one-on-one prayer model. And this is simply where we pair off in groups of 2 or 3 and go off and pray with each other instead of in the entire group. In this time, it allows for prayer requests to go in detail and without any time constraints. It also allows for the amount of time of prayer that is needed between these individuals without being constrained by working with the entire group. Now, it is important to note that our groups that did this last year recommended that you document these requests, either in a journal or on a list or through a Google Doc, so that then you can share it with the entire group instead of just those prayer requests maintaining between those 2 pairs. Our second model of prayer is Lord, hear our prayers. And this is a time where you get to stay in your entire group and prayer requests are said in a liturgical format. So one person will open up this time, whether that's the leader or another individual in the group, and they will welcome a space for prayer. And after this is done, each individual will have an opportunity to share prayer requests. And as each individual shares, and as they finish, each group member at the same time will say, Lord, hear our prayers. And this is a time for the group to stand by this individual and say, I hear you, I see you, and I'm praying for you. After every individual has a time to share, the leader will then close this time off and thank God for the time that they've had and for hearing the prayer requests that were shared. The third form of prayer is the unity prayer. And this is a time where the group gets to stay together and pray over one specific individual. This type of prayer hones in on intimacy and prayers of supplication for one individual in time of crisis or loss, or if the individual is in need of discernment, or really even in celebration, if there's a blessing from that week that they would like to pray over. So after the leader identifies one individual, this person will stand in the center of a circle, and the group will then surround them and lay hands on them. And the leader will open up this time of prayer by saying, Lord, hear our prayers. And after this, each individual of the group will pray over this individual at the same time out loud. And then after this is done, and everyone has finished praying for this individual, the leader will close out this time with an additional word of prayer over this person, and then by closing it with amen. So these are our 3 different forms of prayer. But we recognize that different personalities and different situations within the group may call for different forms of prayer. But we want your group to try each of these so that you can grow and challenge each other through prayer. We also recognize that these aren't the only 3 forms of prayer, and we encourage you to try others. But we also want you to remember 2 things. This must be a time of prayer for you and others in your group. And it also must respect the time and the closing of your group, so that it will stay under an hour and a half.
Once this time has come to a close, your time as a group for the week is also finished. It is now time for y'all to move into allowing God to work through you until the next time you meet as a group. We are so excited that you are stepping into this role and are so excited to hear what is going to happen in your group. One last thing, if any need or question ever comes up, please don't hesitate to email groups@highlandchurch.org. May God bless you as we all partner with God in restoring all things.